Hey everyone, it's 10 Types today. I'm super excited to be showing off this really cool Pokemon TCG deck. And when I say showing it off, I mean, unfortunately, I won't be playing it in today's video because it doesn't work in live. Or it like kind of does, but live really does not like this deck. I'm not sure the issue. It's a weird deck doing some weird stuff. I'm not sure which step live gets tripped up on. And when I say it like gets weird, I'm unable to like select certain cards, and I'm also not able to get the cards in my deck. And I don't know, it's just like getting buggy in a variety of different ways. Kind of like with Palafin EX when that came out. Not as bad as Palafin, but the deck isn't really playable in live. It's like kind of playable. Also, the deck, I'm going to be completely honest, isn't that good. I was testing it some. As I said, it wasn't working. Also, one of the games I like prized double Pidgey, which was like not so useful for testing. But anyways, the deck is really interesting, revolving around, I guess, Sylveon EX and Durant EX. And this is not an attacking deck. It plays no energies here. But this is using potentially my favorite card in standard right now, Strange Timepiece. And as I go through this video as well, if you have any suggestions for the deck, make sure you leave them in the comment section. So I'd love to continue improving this deck. As I said, it's not super good. I could improve it to maybe be in a decent spot, though. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, Strange Timepiece is, as I said, one of my favorite cards in the game because it's weird and it's like kind of cool. Also, it is unfortunately quite niche. It allows you to devolve one of your evolved psychic Pokemon, putting any number of evolutions on it into your hand. And then in parentheses, it says that Pokemon can't evolve this turn. That is like reminder text on how devolution works. So specifically, and I looked up the ruling online. I couldn't find. I think I found the answer, but Eevee, of course, Eevee evolves into Sylveon EX, which is a Psychic Evolution, so we want to use Strange Timepiece on it. And then Eevee says as long as it's in the active, it can evolve during your first turn or the turn you put it into play, meaning that you can then immediately devolve it and then re-evolve it. It doesn't say on the item specifically that you can't re-evolve it. It just says that in a reminder text. So I want to clarify that there. And anyway, so this card allows you, as I said, to devolve your Sylveon EX. Normally, devolving your Psychic Pokemon, I mean, it can allow you to remove multi-prizes from the board, and technically you can maintain a single prize board state with this stack, like kinda. It is kind of awkward, but it is like nice to get your Sylveon EX out of play so that your opponent isn't taking two prizes on it. But then you also generally are allowed to reuse abilities with this card that are on play. That's like the idea with this card. Obviously, that's not what we're doing here, right? We got Sylveon EX that doesn't have an ability, but Sylveon EX is very interesting here because it is a Terra Pokemon. This is probably a step that Live doesn't like. Of course, being a Terra enables some things like the Noctowl engine, so we can kind of maintain it, as I said, a single prize board state. We'll also be able to use Noctowl. Again, kind of, sort of. That's not super true, especially because I do have Pidgeot EX in the deck. As I said, I haven't like really set up Pidgeot very well because I just got like kind of unlucky. But ultimately, Pidgeot EX is a multi-prizer, but it is, you know, sitting on your bench, and it does have a bunch of HP. It has the most HP of any Pokemon in the deck, so it's not like a huge liability, as opposed to a two-prizer with less HP, like Latias EX or Fezandipiti EX, but hopefully you can avoid getting those into play or get them out of play. Durant EX also is liability. That one really should not be in play on your opponent's turn, though, so like in general. And then Sylveon EX, as I said, you can get that out of play as well. Keep in mind, though, this deck does not run any basic Terras. That is very important, but also means that setting up with Noctowl is a bit more difficult, but hopefully you're fine with that. But anyways, this enables us to use Area Zero Underdepths as well. This is the cool card here. I did make a Durant EX stack in the past built around Durant EX and replaying it and milling with the Area Zero Underdepths using Pikachu EX, I mean, really any Terra basic would work. And then the idea is you bring the Terra in and out of play, then it shrinks and expands your bench. However, the way you had to do that was using a, you had to use a supporter, I believe, or you could use Scoop Up Cyclone, which we do have in this deck as well, which can also work with Noctowl, but Area Zero Underdepths expands our bench to 8, and then if you don't have a Terra in play, it shrinks it back down to 5 there, discarding the 3 Pokemon from our bench, or up to 3 Pokemon, the ones, you know, the excess there. And this, if you can see where this is going, it allows us to play Pokemon with on-play abilities, including Noctowl. We can use this to use Noctowl. I kind of wanted the deck just to use Noctowl, but then you actually would run out of trainers, because Noctowl doesn't really search for the cards you need itself. It searches cards to get the cards you need, so that isn't very sustainable there. But then with Aerosio Underdepths, we can replay specifically Durant EX here. Durant EX on play from hand onto your bench, discards the top card of your opponent's deck. This is not super good mill, right? One time milling 4. If you play 4 of these, which we do, you can mill 4, which is not enough to win you the game. That being said, if you're able to use Durant EX over and over again, you can win the game doing that. And each time we shrink and expand our bench, then we can theoretically play 3 more Durant EXs. Additionally, we can recover them using Miriam. Miriam is one of my, I guess, favorite supporters in the Pokemon TCG. I think it's kind of underrated, allowing us to recover up to 5 Pokemon from a Disco Pal into our deck, and then we draw 3 cards. If we recover during Pokemon. If we want to use this as a draw supporter, we do need to recover cards. Keep that in mind. We could play Sacred Ash as well. I don't play Sacred Ash in this deck. We are more reliant on Miriam, which Miriam is honestly pretty good if you're getting value from recovering a bunch of Pokemon, which we definitely are going to be getting value from recovering 5 Pokemon at times, because the Durant EXs are Pokemon we want to recover, and then the Noctowl line, which is a full line, is something we also want to recover. We can also be more free to use our Ultra Balls to discard Pokemon, because we can recover them very easily. Also, if a Pokemon gets knocked out, we can recover it, and so on there. So Miriam is nice for recovering the Pokemon. And then drawing the 3 cards is also good. And through the use of these different things, this should be a pretty solid package. As I said, theoretically, we could use Sacred Ash, which is an item that does the recovery portion of it, then save our supporter for something else, like a Scoop Up card, like Turo's Scenario, or also like, Boss, or just like a draw supporter. But I do like Miriam in the deck, and I've been playing it, and that feels really nice there. Then we are, of course, able to recover the Durant EX, then play them back down. We need to draw into them. We have Pidgeot EX, and we also have, obviously, Miriam itself to draw us cards. So hopefully that gets us into the Durant EXs there. And then we can use the Noctowl line to search for plenty of other things as well. And then we can be milling a few cards every turn, and also maintaining a pretty good control over the board state. I mean, an okay amount of control. We have some gusting. We have a boss, 2 counter catchers, and we do play a Pal Pad here as well. And then we also, as I said, can kind of control what's in our active pretty well and on our board, because we're able to, manipulate that a lot. Ultimately, this deck isn't super strong in terms of mill. I will say mill is also resource removal. Theoretically, we can mill important cards like maybe switches or Pokemon recovery, as well as a Pokemon, to be able to, get something stuck in the active if they play it, right? And then we can get it stuck. Ultimately, this deck doesn't have that much room. I mean, I play multiple, obviously Great Ball. Great Ball is honestly quite good in this deck, allowing us to, I can get us different Pokemon, right? We play a bunch of Pokemon, but yes, our Durant EXs, it's the best way to get them. I guess you have Ultra Ball as well. Nest Ball, though, isn't going to, trigger the ability there, so that's going to be very weak. We have Pidgey EX, we can draw into it with Fezandipiti EX, or just like in any other number of ways drawing into cards. But, it's not super consistent there, right? So that's definitely a big issue with the deck. Tell me in the comment section if you have any suggestions. I guess I could play Bug Catching Set, but that seems pretty bad. And then it also, as I said, plays the Eevee, allowing us to evolve instantly, meaning that we can use multiple Strange Timepieces in the same turn. I will say I was considering the Dunsparce in the deck, because it has some fun things you can do. It could allow us to get a lot of draw with Enriching Energy as well. Then we need to remove Scoop Up Cyclone. Scoop Up Cyclone is nice for potentially getting a Multiparzer out of play, maybe, and then also it allows us to, just do another Scoop Up on an item, which is generally better. I will say we're looking to have the Eevee line in the active as well, so we can actually use the ability. If it's on the bench, that's kind of clunky, so I have Latias EX. That's, as I said, a bit of a liability. It's not, horrendous, but it's not great. And then I originally had this deck running like a disrupted Pokemon, and then the idea is you'd Jet Energy and switch back and forth. A disrupted Pokemon like Iron Thorns EX, or what's another one? Klefki, or Fluttermane, or Corsomaster Upon EX, or something like that, right? those Pokemon that are annoying to deal with, maybe even something like Badoo there. That being said, it's really like awkward. You need to find the special energy, which is hard to do, and then you're really not doing your game plan. And then at that point, what's the point of the Durant EXs, right? So this is more all in on the Durant strategy. But in testing this deck, it's worked shockingly well. As I said, every game I played, it's not like crashed, but like stopped working. Like one of the games I couldn't find Miriams, they got lost. I don't know what happened. The Miriams just like disintegrated. Well, they got like stuck on the bottom of your deck, so they were like not in the game anymore. But anyways, as I said, there've been a lot of glitches like that. Also, my opponent's decks have been like quite not like they have not set up very well. So if you're up against something like a Dragapult or like a spread deck, or honestly like a lot of good decks, you're probably gonna struggle here. But it's like a fun, silly meme deck. This is really cool. It's like very obviously combo heavy, but it's a really fun deck. I'd recommend you try it. I guess not on live. I mean, again, if anyone knows exactly what the issue is, imagine it has to do with shrinking and expanding the bench. That's why this deck isn't working. But anyways, tell me in the comment section if you have any suggestions. But I hope you enjoyed. Tell me any suggestions as well on other decks. But make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as Awesome said, see you in the next video.